When One Piece Odyssey came onto my radar, as a lover of turn-based combat, I knew I had to at the very least check it out. I gave the demo a try and eventually bought the full release a month or so later. The story has lots of references to the anime, which left me slightly lost from time to time, as I'd never seen an episode. But holy shit! I think I found 2 reasons to start watching. Actually, never mind. So in terms of story, we end up shipwrecked on a mysterious island, and after saving Nami from a massive gorilla, we end up getting attacked by a huge fire colossus. This was an easy fight and had me worried due to being level 40 at the start of the game and knowing all these ridiculously strong moves. Enter stage left Lim, who with a simple touch removes all our powers and sets us back down to level 1 by instruction from Adio, who we later find out is a bit of a dickhead. We are given the task of defeating all 4 Colossus on the island in order to fully regain our powers and set off to a small cave to test ourselves. While inside this dungeon, we get into a lot of battles, and this is where I think the game starts to begin to fall a little flat. The way the combat works is kind of like rock, paper, scissors. Power beats speed, speed beats technique, and technique beats power. Also, while in battle, you're able to actively swap and change characters in and out your party, which makes the game feel very, very easy at times. We continue through the cave and prove to Adio that we have the ability to take out all of the Colossus, so he then takes us up to the Thunder Ruins where the Thunder Colossus resides. As is the case with every set of ruins in this game, we are greeted to a small puzzle which we have to navigate in order to get to our objective, and we level up a fair bit in the process. This is made even easier by specific battle requirements that when met give a huge boost to earned XP. We eventually solve the puzzle which unlocks the path to the Thunder Ruin Colossus, and during this fight found out that there is no way of skipping turns. No biggie, but that made meeting battle requirements a little bit more tricky in certain situations. It also highlighted the inconsistency of XP gains within this game. Regardless, the Thunder Colossus was defeated, and then Lim explains that we must revisit some of our memories in order to get even stronger, and proceeds to give us some of our power back, and thus the end of chapter 1 and the first trophy of the game. The start of chapter 2 finds us in Alabasta, and the overall objective is to beat the enemy Crocodile, but this chapter seems to drag on and on as it continues to introduce us to everything the game has to offer. We find a Yaya Cube, which is the first of 99 needed for a trophy. We experience our first side mission, and we are introduced to character specific little quirks such as Sanji's ability to sniff out ingredients or Usopp's slingshot ability, both also tied to trophies. We continue gathering information of Crocodile's whereabouts and make our way through the desert landscape running back and forth until we win our 50th battle, earning us the second trophy of the game, Victor. As we continue, we come across what's called a Frey memory, which sucks in specific party members to fulfill a small side quest, which results in the chosen party members earning a team attack. This Frey memory was the first of many, all of which needed to be completed for yet another trophy. Shortly after, we finally unlocked the ability to fast travel, thank God. This cut down the amount of running back and forth that I'd been doing so much up until this point. I then came to a campsite which allowed the team to wind down and party. I cooked 10 recipes, earning me the Journeyman Cook trophy, and created 10 trick balls which got me the Trick Ball Beginner trophy. From here, I then had to cross over a river of sand and required assistance. I got that help from a giant crab who carried us to our next destination, Reindeers, where I was still searching for the whereabouts of Crocodile. Can you see what I mean when I say that this part just dragged and dragged? We head back to the desert and start making our way towards the city of Alabama, and while searching every nook and cranny for items and collectibles, we get the trophy Gum Gum Rocket for using Luffy's Gum Gum Rocket ability 100 times. Then came a lot of fighting. We came across Smoker and Tashigi as they try and block our passage to Alabama, before then taking on Bon Clay once inside the city walls. I have no idea who these guys are, but I'm guessing they're characters from the anime. Once those have been defeated, we then make our way inside the Alabama Mausoleum and meet up with Crocodile, who poses more of a threat, especially during the second fight. Once defeated, we then party again and complete Chapter 2 for yet another trophy. Before getting stuck into Chapter 3, I decided to run around trying to finish off any side quests, bounties and frame memories, and finding as many Yaya cubes as I could. For completing my 10th side quest, I got the trophy Pit Stop Amateur. From here, we headed back to the island and find out our next target is the Dust Ruins in order to fight the Wind Colossus. Rinse and repeat from the last time, go into the ruins, solve a mini puzzle, loads of fighting, and then take on the Colossus itself. This particular ruins was rather annoying, and it's certainly been done before. Moving mirrors to reflect light in order to unlock doors, and then using a machine which flips the rooms upside down to continue the puzzle in order to unlock the boss fight itself. Now this boss was the one and only time during the story that I felt like the difficulty spiked just a tiny bit, but it also could have just been down to me not utilising my party to its fullest. The Wind Colossus hit back hard, especially when it had the old rock paper scissors style advantage. Regardless, after a couple of minutes the battle was won, the party learnt some new moves as they grew stronger, and we got the trophy for completing Chapter 3. Chapter 4 begins with us taking a trip into the memory of Water City 7, and once again we spend the next few hours running around collecting anything and everything that we can find, as well as tackling any side missions and bounties available to us. As part of the story, we run into a Koji, who absolutely wrecks us, and we retreat in order to save Luffy and Robin, which ended up being kind of anticlimactic to say the least. We then have to go into the sewers as we head towards Mr. Iceberg's water riding train. Again, I don't know if this guy is a big character in the anime, but in this game he plays a bit part, not really worth dwelling on. After fighting through the first part of the sewers, we meet and fight Frankie, who ends up joining us from this point forward, and unbeknown to me at least until near the end of the game, is actually a cyborg, and actually quite a funny character. So with Frankie now part of our squad, we were flying across the water and experienced a crash landing at our next destination, the Tower of Law. This was like a mini dungeon of sorts and ended with a mad dash to the summit before the water rose and killed us, although it didn't actually rise until I moved on to the next area. We finally reached the top and are greeted to Pigeon Man, who, unless I'm mistaken, looks like a tiger. This guy was tough, but once again I'm not entirely sure if this was me being an idiot, underleveled, or it was a genuine power spike. We eventually get his HP bar down and Luffy learns a new move, which saves the day in a very nicely placed cutscene. Seriously, this game was really making me want to watch the anime, but to catch up with over 1,000 episodes.
Ain't nobody got time for that!
After successfully dispatching the Pigeon Man, we then started cleaning up what we could in Water City 7. For completing our 5th Fray memory, we earned the trophy Fixed a Fray. Then, for completing our 10th bounty, we got the trophy Journeyman Hunter. And we finally decided it was time to go back to the island, and doing this completed Chapter 4 for another trophy. Once back on the island, at the start of Chapter 5, we find out that the next set of ruins have been found, the Water Ruins. Before heading there to lay the smackdown on the Water Colossus, I decided to gear up. Having just unlocked Robin's fuse ability, which allows us to upgrade our accessories by combining two together, we get the trophy Craft Enthusiast for fusing our 5th accessory. Once inside the ice ruins, which was long-winded and annoying may I add, using Zoro's slice ability for the 20th time, I got the trophy Iron Door Slicer, and continued on to the Ice Colossus fight. This boss was by far the hardest point of the story, and although I did succeed on my first attempt, there was definitely a few squeaky bum moments. On a number of occasions I had to use items that I'd been hoarding and meals that I'd cooked with Sanji that gave me significant buffs. With the help of these I eventually beat the Ice Colossus and completed chapter 5 for another trophy. Now chapter 6 was by far the smallest chapter of the game. We end up in Marineford, but only for a few fights and story cutscenes. We don't actually get to run around or do much else. The aim is to save Ace, Luffy's brother, and in order to do just that, it requires teaming up with some unlikely allies. We fight and beat Aokiji with the help of Crocodile and Jinbei, no idea who that dude is, and then we have to fight Akainu twice. After getting absolutely obliterated during the second fight with Akainu, we retreat and survive with a massive helping hand, get it, from Robin. This is the end of chapter 6, and another trophy in the bag. At the start of chapter 7, we are tasked with returning Brook to his body. As we get to the area where Brook's body is waiting, after being on the seabed for a considerable amount of time, a giant sea lion swallows him whole. Battle begins, and during the fight we use our 20th Bond art move and earn our 16th trophy of the game. We succeed and begin heading back to camp when we are ambushed by the Fire Colossus. Considering the difficulty of the previous one, we ended up taking it down with ease. We head back to camp and start gearing up for whatever's next. And for fusing an accessory with 4 stats, we get the trophy Jewel Master. While also in the camp, we then created one of each type of trick ball using Usopp for the trophy Trick Ball Wizard. A few side missions later, and the realisation that chapter 7 was perhaps equally as short as chapter 6 had begun to sink in. We speak with Lim as she tells us our next destination is Dressrosa, and then we get the trophy for completing the chapter. We start chapter 8 with our usual running around the new area and collecting everything, while working our way towards meeting Doflamingo, who has caused all the carnage and destruction round, because of reasons. I'm sure they were explained, but I can't really remember them. We fight, and fight some more. Then we get this trophy for hitting an enemy for over 10,000 damage. And once this fight was complete, we get our next trophy for winning 300 battles. We then find out that we need a key from Rebecca in order to proceed, and I've completely lost my track of thought. Is it really too late to start this anime? No wonder Luffy grinning like this. Anyways, we then continue with searching for the key, and something I hadn't mentioned up until this point is character cubes, that once acquired can be used to level up abilities. You can find these throughout the world, and we find the 20th cube for Usopp to earn trophy number 22. Shortly after that, we find the 20th cube for Sanji for another trophy, and then shortly after that we cook every recipe in the game for the trophy Top Cook. More cube collecting next, now with both 30 cubes for Nami and 40 cubes for Zoro, bringing our total up to 26, just over halfway. At this point I'd been going for 32 hours, which had me a little worried in terms of being only halfway through with the trophies, but in all fairness, the story kept me going for the most part. While still making our way to the summit of Dressrosa, we have a fight with Hakuba, who looks evil as fuck, but Luffy refers to him as Cabbage. After beating Cabbage and the Goon Squad, we find out that his real name is Cavendish, and he's somewhat of a wannabe superstar. He joins the party, but then just a little bit further up the road, we find our 50th character cube for Luffy, for Trophy 27. Sticking with character cubes, we then find the 30th cube for Robin, giving us another trophy. And we continue making our way towards our big showdown with Doflamingo. This fight wasn't too difficult in truth. And once we'd finished the battle, we witnessed a cutscene where Luffy goes Super Saiyan 4 and saves the day. And then, all that was left was to speak with Lim once again to trigger the end of Chapter 8, granting us trophy number 29. It was at this point it all became clear that Adio is a prick. By defeating all the Colossus on the island, we'd made it possible for Adio to summon the Divine Breath, a device capable of immense destruction, and he was going to use it. Our objective was to head towards the newly visible and accessible Sky Tower, but before heading there, we picked up the 25th ingredient using Sanji for the trophy Cook's Nose, and then managed to find the specified number of character cubes for Chopper. We enter the Sky Tower and start traversing and fighting our way towards the top. While inside the Sky Tower, we come across an area to set up camp and fuse our 30th accessory, earning us the trophy Chasing Champion, before then finding the specified character cubes for both Frankie and Brook, taking us up to a total of 34 trophies at this point. Having pushed further into the Sky Tower, I decided now was the time to start tying up some loose ends, and begun going back through each of the memorial levels, finishing off some side quests, some bounties, and whatever else I had left to do. We headed back to Alabasta and used Usopp's slingshot for the 100th time to get the trophy Usopp's slingshot, and then completed a couple of really easy bounties to earn the trophy Saving Savant for amassing 2 million currency. From here, we then found the 20th piece of scripture using Robin for the trophy Archaeologist's Appraisal, before heading back over to Water City 7 where we found the 25th piece of treasure using Nami for the trophy Treasure Sensor. I then decided it was time to finish the story, knowing that the majority of the trophies left were on the grindier side of things. We meet up with Adio at the summit of Sky Tower, who talks us through his plan, because isn't that just what all villains do these days? Adio kills Lim, prick, but she lives. Well hey, it's a bit weird. He then fucks off, where we have to collect ourselves before then heading to the beach to confront him again. We fight Adio and beat him quite comfortably before the Divine Breath starts acting on its own, so we then have to fight that too. Once again, the fight was quite tame, and the Divine Breath was dispatched quickly and easily. Then came all the cutscenes, and as you'd expect from most stories these days, the bonds of friendship conquers all. You know how that lovey-dovey stupid shit goes. All that was left was for Adio to disappear into the distance, claiming that he was a better man, and for Lim to resurrect herself, because she wasn't just a little girl, but being controlled by some higher power, something like that. Then to basically get on our pirate ship, wave goodbye, and sail off into the sunset. After a long as fuck credit scene, we then earn the trophy for completing the main storyline and final chapter. Now that the main storyline was complete, challenge cubes had started appearing around the game. Each cube consists of a fight that had previously taken place during the story, but with a slight difficulty spike. There was 11 cubes in total, and we would have to beat the challenge for each twice, the difficulty spiking quite significantly for the second fight on each of the challenge cubes. I decided to give the first challenge cube a try, and didn't find it too difficult at all. And for doing this first challenge cube, I got the trophy Challenge Enemy Beginner. The next trophy I earned was for running away from battle 3 times. Even though I've mentioned the game was considerably easy throughout this video, I think that kind of paints a better picture that I only got this through fleeing on purpose. After the 3rd time of fleeing battle, we got the trophy Escape is Victory. Whenever I'd set up camp, I was able to throw a party, and for throwing a party 30 times, I earned the trophy Party Animal. Because I'm an absolute moron, I didn't realise that whenever you threw a party, the team would receive an XP boost, so this came in very handy when going for the next trophy, which was for getting each party member to level 70. Remember earlier in the video where I mentioned how inconsistent XP was from fighting? Well yeah, this is where I got the trophy High Leveler, while also earning 23 million experience points. I then managed to find and finish all of the Frey memories for the trophy Certified Frey Fixer, and then got the trophy Frankie Skywalk for building the 10th and final bridge using Frankie. This also contributed towards my Yaya cube collection, as I was finding some but not all of the cubes I needed in areas I hadn't previously been. Eventually, with a little help from a guide, I picked up the 99th cube for the trophy Collector. I then went on to complete my final side mission to earn the trophy Pit Stop Pro, and then completed my final bounty for the trophy Bounty Hunter. At some point, I'd picked up a key, and this key would then open locked chests that I'd seen throughout the story. For opening the 10th and final locked chest, I also got the trophy Treasure Hunter. Now it was time for the rest of the challenge cubes. Every single battle was easy, but then when taking on the challenge the second time was so much more difficult. This was the one and only time throughout the whole game where I started to be cautious about which accessories to equip before a fight, prepping meals with added stats and using them whenever times got tough. After a long slog through each challenge, we eventually came up against Doflamingo again. Surprisingly, this was one of the easier challenges, and for defeating him the second time, we got the trophy Challenge Enemy Conqueror, and of course that sweet platinum trophy. All in all, One Piece Odyssey took me around 60 hours, and while there were definitely some tougher moments throughout the game, it was fairly easy. Upon reflection, I could have done this so much quicker. My only issue is that when it comes to the battles, once you've learnt the stronger moves, and if you have accessories maintaining your TP points, then it does get a fair bit repetitive. So I want to know, if you've played this game, how did you find it? I'll be looking to do more RPGs in the future and would like to know your suggestions, so hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and let me know. Thanks for watching.